All right, here we are. We're in.
Finally.
And we're back. Welcome to Brewskis and Housekeys. My name is Nick Papantanakis.
And I'm Tyler Thompson.
And we're here. We are agents in the RE/MAX Alliance Old Town Arvada office. You know us, you love us. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard us before. But we're back with another episode for you. We're here to drink some beer, and we're actually going to give you our kind of mid-year market update.
Yes.
So, but first things first, how you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, you know, Nick, it's been I've been busy. Summer's been a little bit hot, especially on the buyer's side. So it's been a great market over there. So.
Oh, I thought you meant temperature.
Oh, both ways.
Both.
So
both.
For me, yes, for both, yes. How about you though, Nick? How have you been?
Also hot. Not necessarily all business, but it's been it's been really warm. And that's been incentive to like go and do things. Like my daughter just had her 10th birthday, and so we got out of town up to the hills and we hiked, and like it was 15 to 20 degrees cooler up there. It was lovely.
I have one question. What is the color exterior of your car?
It is. Well, we didn't get in any mud, so it's a dark gray. It's like, it's a silvery dark gray.
I got black, and this is like the time of the season where I'm like regretting how black my car is because everything's black. So it's that time of the year where you sit down and it's like, oh, shouldn't have worn shorts today because it's burning my legs.
You're driving an oven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not great, but I get it. And it's been toasty, man.
It has been. Amen.
Have you been out golfing at all?
I have been doing a lot of golfing recently.
You look like you're ready for it today.
Well, if I take off the Apple Watch, you definitely see an Apple Watch tan for starters.
Yes.
So I've been doing a lot of, and I shot an 86 the other day, which is great for me.
Dang.
Haven't done that for a minute. I think actually my best ever shot was like 85.
Oh, 18 holes?
Yeah, but this is Lake
I have
Arbor.
to ask that because that's not how I score things, but that's different.
At Lake Arbor, it was like it's like an easier course though.
I love that course.
Yeah. So it was easier to shoot. It was like so it was like it was fun, but I got to break 85. That's my goal. Then I can buy some new clubs.
Deal. Well, we do have Tyler and I are actually playing in a golf tournament this evening, a 9-hole tournament. So I'm glad you're warmed up because you're going to have to carry.
We're going to see, Nick.
Our team.
We're going to see.
It's not me. I'm there for moral support, some comic relief maybe. I'll even buy you a beer. How about that?
Deal. I'll take that.
Speaking of, what do we got in front of us today?
What do we have? Now, this is what I'm ready for.
Yeah. Should we do the sound that we love?
Got to do it.
Can we do it?
Got to
do yours. I'll do mine.
All right,
do it
ready?
together. 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Oh!
It just sounds good.
Doesn't it?
Now this is I'm going to call it a classic beyond classics because I found out the other day that Odell Brewing Company in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is what we're drinking, was one of the first before New Belgium. They were one of the first microbreweries, craft breweries in Colorado. Did you know that? Obviously, Coors was the OG, like the one, right?
The one.
But then you talk about the ones that came next, and Odell was the first one in Fort Collins. So I think we do a little cheers. Because why not? So we are drinking, Tyler's got what's called the Mountain Standard IPA.
Ooh, that's really good.
You happy with that one?
Oh, I'm so happy with that one.
What's the specs on it? What do you got?
Well,
ABV.
It
looks
is
beautiful.
It was really good. It is a hop.
Well, it's an IPA. It's going to have some bite to it.
Vibrant, mountain style. It's a tribute to the mountains is what they call it, but I don't even see like the 6.5%. There you go.
That's a camping beer.
It's an India Pale Ale.
Did you know that's what IPA stands for?
No.
You didn't?
No, I did not.
That's why we're doing this.
I did not.
This is an education as well as, on beer as well as on real estate. So
this is really good though.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite camping beers. We'll grab like the mix pack from Odell and take it camping with us.
Heck yeah.
Dude.
Amen to that.
Yep. This one right here is a classic beyond classic. I think this might have been the first one I ever tried from them. It's called 90 Schilling. It's an amber. It's really, it's not like necessarily a beer I would go to first on a hot day.
Yeah.
But it's so good and so just like drinkable no matter what that I'm happy that this is going down my gullet right now.
Yeah.
It's hitting the spot. Odell, do you ever go up there?
No.
Fort Collins? Worth checking out.
Okay.
Their tour is cool, but like they're legend up there.
Maybe I'll try it out.
So.
I remember I did do the Coors tour once. I was too young to even drink those. That was kind of boring.
See, you've got this whole new world open.
I got pretzels, and then they would smell bad. That's all. That's all I got from
You have
that.
a different perspective now, though.
Now I'm ready. I want to
Totally
see how it's made.
perspective. Well, should we dive into some numbers?
We should.
Some stuff here.
We
So in the past, when we've done market updates, we kind of like to share the stats from the past month and then how they compare over the last year, and then kind of talk about what we think that means for buyers and sellers in the market right now. So we'll kind of break down numbers first, and we'll dive into kind of some of our best practices, best advice for folks in those boats right now. So I'll kick it off. Right now we are looking at the average sale price for a residential, for a home that's attached, detached, all put together in the Denver metro area. So that's Thornton, Nevada, Wheat Ridge, Lakewood, Denver, Westminster. I'm missing one or two in there, but hitting that whole metro area, your average price was $743,572. Now, that's average. That means there are some on either end that are going to skew that pretty dramatically,
Right.
On the low end and on the high end. But then the median price in the month of June was $610,000, which is kind of more the norm of what we would say is kind of the middle of the road.
That's more of like what I've been seeing anyway. I feel like, especially here in Nevada, that's what I was going to guess would be the median price was going to be $550 to like $610. So
yeah. And that's up a little bit from last month, and so is the average price as well. As far as breaking that out, we like to look at detached and then attached homes. So detached meaning single-family homes. Your average price on those was $821,885. So that's a good chunk of change. But your median, again, that's usually what we go off of. If I'm talking numbers with clients, I'm talking median price. I'm not talking average price.
Right.
Median price is $665,000, which is basically flat from the month before, which is kind of what's expected, I think, of this time. I was looking back at,
Was this like when the market just starts evening out again? Wouldn't you say?
A little bit, time of year wise, but this year's been funky, and we'll talk about that.
No, for sure.
And then as far as attached homes, so townhome, condo, those kinds of things, your average price was $445,983, which is up 2.25% from the previous month. Median price, though, is staying level flat from May to June at $400,000 even. And last but not least, if you look at the overall median price from a year ago, it's up about 1.7%. So there's been a little bit of increase in prices, but nothing dramatic and nothing that's crazy that's going to really make some sort of weird market swings happen.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So, okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and get you some market status updates here. So for detached homes, looking at 33 days is the average days on market. Attached, looking at 55 days, which is the average day on market, which I would say is quite fair. I mean, I'm seeing homes like average for about a month now on market, I would say is the average I've been dealing with right now. So,
condos and townhomes are longer.
Yeah, condos for sure. Yeah, condos have been sitting there for a minute. So, but which is interesting though, because I haven't seen a spike in that recently. So, active listings at the end of June was 14,000, which is up 33% since May. Closed homes, we are up to 3,864. That's down 9% from May. And then new listings, we're down now to 5,929, 18% from May. Average close to list price, average close to list 98%, which is actually kind of interesting to me. That's still at 98%.
Can you break that down for those who maybe don't know what that means?
So basically, it's like when you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that just when it's like the price you list for, and then compared to the actual price you actually closed at? So,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what that number tells us is if it's below 100%, that means we listed the house at $600,000, but we sold it for less.
Right.
We sold it for about 98% of what we wanted.
For 1.1%, right?
Yeah, and so then sometimes you'll see the average close list price up over 100%, which means that's when you're in multiple offers. That's when you're seeing it get really hot in the market.
Right.
Not something we've seen in a while.
True.
But that's kind of what that percentage number means, and we use that a lot. I mean, that's a good indicator when we're talking to people about listing their homes.
Right.
Is if you're listing around in this price range and you're listing around this number, this is likely what you can expect to get.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice tool to use for stats junkies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That number actually surprises me though quite a bit, because I feel like with this market that we've been in recently, I mean, with all the buyers that I've had, I would say, it's like everyone that we've been working with, it was kind of just we were able to come in still with asking. I would say like we've done a lot of 3-2-1 buy downs coming in, and then also like I would say on average 25 to 20,000, let's say below asking, is what we averaged on closing for. I mean, at least for what I closed this summer. So, but I guess that kind of makes sense percentage wise.
Well, let's talk about that a minute, because if you think about someone being able to ask for a buy down, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's basically asking the seller to pay you X amount of dollars.
Typically 15,000.
Yeah, some in the neighborhood of 3 to 6% of the price,
Right.
Whatever the lender will allow, and that's taking that money, and you are basically permanently buying down or temporarily buying down the interest rate to help you make your monthly payments more manageable.
And you're kind of gambling on the your future interest rate, so you can refinance. That's kind of like what you're gambling on with the 3-2-1 buy down.
Yeah, but the nice thing is, at 3-2-1 and something like that, you're talking about the rate. Say the rate is 7%. So in the first year of a 3-2-1 buy down, you're paying 4% on your rate instead of 7%.
It's ridiculous.
That's a huge savings.
And you're just paying what you would be paying anyway.
Yep, and the money to help offset that is coming from that chunk that they gave you. So
Correct.
It's a cool tool, it's a creative tool, and it's a good idea if there are buyers that are, the price point isn't hurting them, but the monthly payment is hurting them.
Right. And I'd say like this, like the average price point that I was at, I'll clarify with it, was like right around like the 550s. Is kind of like what I was like right there in that range. So,
yeah.
And that's like a more of what we're seeing sit on market. Now the higher end listings and whatnot, I've been seeing they've been closing a little bit faster or even getting competitive depending on the area. So,
which is interesting, and we'll talk about that here in a second with different price ranges, because the traffic you see in those price ranges, it's not what you'd expect, and
Correct.
we can get to that here in a sec. But
sure.
And then rates, I'd love you to share that number, because that's
a
big hit.
6.7 to 9%. So.
That's sub 7.
Yep.
Those of you out there saying rate is a problem.
I have been saying that it has been going down
Just
quite
saying.
a bit actually recently too, which is nice.
It's very real.
Very real.
As far as kind of that pricing breakdown, like we said, in the price ranges, you're talking about the way we look at it, the way we get all of our stats from the Denver Metro Association of Realtors, or as we might call it on this podcast occasionally, DMAR, because we realtors love our acronyms. As far as the stats that we get from DMAR, it breaks it down into ranges of 500,000 to 750 as a price point, 750 up to 999,999. And then $1 million plus. And so those are the numbers I'm going to go through. For that $1 million plus price range in the month of June, the close to list price was actually 98%. So that means they were getting a full 2% less than what they listed their homes for.
Right.
Days on market were an average of 38. So sat for over a month,
Wow.
and then maybe taking a little bit of a hit off of what they originally listed for. That's a decrease, or that's an increase, from May.
Right.
May, they were getting a little bit closer to 99% and fewer days on market at 32. So that's a difference, which shows you that maybe things are easing up a little bit, at least in that price range. For 750,000 up to that million mark, there was 99.14% close to list, so a little bit closer to the 100% mark, and 33 days on market, which is also up. It was 28 days on market in May. And then that range we were talking about, so 500 to 750, which is really, once you get out of the condo and townhome realm, that's
the shared wall, for sure.
Generalization, but for the most part, then you're getting into that range of a single family home, your first single family home, maybe, whatever it may be. 500 to 750 is kind of that range.
Yeah.
That was 99.44% close to list price, so pretty close to that mark. Not a ton of concessions maybe coming, that way.
Right.
And 34 days on market. So really, it's safe to say properties are sitting.
Yeah.
Properties are going to sit for a little while.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But they're still getting almost 100%, which is what you want, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, but absolutely, I feel like it just depends on also the location wise where you're at too. Like I was up in right around that Red Rocks area where we're looking at that one property we want to send you photos of, and the one we posted about too, I think actually.
Yeah, we did.
And that area, that house ended up actually going for it was a competing for the asking price. So.
Yeah, and we're still seeing that.
Yeah.
I think in different areas, it's just not. It's not across the board like it once was.
It's not as common as it used to be. Correct.
There are properties, there are neighborhoods that are super competitive.
There's so many houses on the market. It's ridiculous.
14,000 homes.
Yeah.
14,000 homes.
That's so much. That's so much. Easter. Ever since Easter, we just got this huge wave of listings.
Sellers are tired. We'll talk about it. We'll dive deep, but sellers are tired of waiting. I think.
Oh, no, for sure. They're getting desperate.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about. I'd like you to talk about a little bit about what kind of that means for what does this stuff mean for buyers in this market right now? What are you thinking?
Being prepared, just making sure you have everything. Like making sure you're talking to the right lender, making sure you're doing the right loan as much as you can. And really, if you guys are second guessing or questioning a lender, always reach out to a second lender. I feel like that's always something you could do. I feel like Nick, you have 2 lenders that you could definitely recommend for everybody. I have 2 lenders that I know or could recommend that are very knowledgeable. One being Michelle, obviously.
Superhero.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's one of mine too.
And she's great with first-time home buyers as well, especially because of how knowledgeable she's able to explain it to the client. Though is how much I like her. So. I think that's very valuable, but I think it's just a matter of making sure you do the right proper steps in order to because you might not even be ready. You might think you're ready to buy a home, but you might not even be close and get qualified for it, which is the sad thing too. I've had 2 people come in, 2 leads that came in that thought they were able to qualify for at least a condo, and no, they were not close, sadly. So it was just because they didn't do the proper steps. They kind of just jumped the gun, right? They didn't really talk to anybody about how to save up for the proper steps, have the right credit score. What loan they should be on, and plus they were looking in the right areas. You can qualify for the low income properties, which is great. I just got done trying to get one of my other clients qualified for those, and we ended up competing for the low income properties.
Really?
So, and since you can't compete those, since it's low income, you can't really have a competitive thing. So they have it drawn. They literally draw your name. So, and my clients actually qualified. So it was a huge deal for that's huge if they pull your name.
No kidding.
So,
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
You only get so much equity basically in the end is kind of how those properties work. But they make it super they were fully ready to purchase a property, which is awesome. But we didn't get it, sadly, or her name was not drawn. And then I think looking in the right areas, meaning new builds. I think they're offering those low interest rates, which is huge, right? Obviously you have to use their lender or whatnot, but it's pretty nice what they can offer with those newer builds. So
you think about that person that you were talking about with the lower income opportunity, or those people that didn't maybe qualify and thought they did. Hopefully they can see the resource that you were being for them in that moment, because truthfully it's really easy and fun and exciting to think about buying a home. I 100% know that feeling from experience, but also watching clients, and it's hard and gut-wrenching when there's a disappointment, especially one you just don't qualify right now. As hard as that is, it's much better to know that as early as possible. If you get deep into the realm of I've been looking at places, I love these couple areas or whatever it is, and then you find out you can't even qualify for it, that's a much harder conversation.
Right. Absolutely. Plus it's also just having this, sometimes it's for a lot of my friends especially, people my generation, I'd say it's just the simple question of asking mom and dad too. Maybe they can even help you out. It's just the thought of even making the investment, right? As soon as you start thinking of you want to invest into a home, I say one of the first things you should be talking to is a lender who's knowledgeable and is able to guide you in the right direction and help you out with your score and everything. So
and they're gonna be straight with you. They're gonna tell you exactly what is realistic, and sometimes, like I said, that's not an easy pill to swallow, but it's very important for people to be able to do that. So I love that. I think that's 100% my first step too. Is have you spoken to a lender? We can talk about homes, but really at the end of the day, it's about I like to tell them we want to play with live ammunition. We don't want to, be shooting the moon when we can't afford it. We want to know exactly what we can play with, what kind of money we're playing with, and then we can go and be realistic about it.
So, yeah, exactly. And it's all about just your comfortability too and stuff like that too, right? You want to gauge that range of where do I want to be at per month, or do I need to have a roommate involved, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's just simple things you need to get prepared for if you wanted to invest into a property. How bad do you really want it too? So
and that's there again. That's you thinking outside the box with different solutions like that. So that's good. Tyler's a good resource. If you need a realtor, I know a guy. He's good at it. I think I agree with you, man. I think that's really the best approach with this current situation is just have all your ducks in a row.
Right.
So then you can get out there and you can just go and do what makes sense for you.
Right.
And everybody's situation is unique.
So I have a question for you actually, and this is going to be a little bit off topic rather than get prepared, but it's kind of just about the marketplace. But listing wise, do you have much sitting on market at the moment?
Yep.
Have you noticed, and this is what I'm tending to notice right now in the marketplace, but the listings that have all the newer updates, finishes, carpet, light fixtures, making sure the plumbing, everything that's clear, it checks all the boxes. Those listings seem to be moving so much faster now, and almost like competitive rather than like kind of like those other listings that have taken care of. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed that, but is that something you're starting to see in the marketplace? Because that's something I'm starting to see for sure, especially in the condo marketplace. Like those listings that are newer, have the newer updates, like, you know, kind of like they have like more of that homey feel. I feel like we're moving much quicker than the ones that are kind of just like ready for you to update them, or like, you know, less move-in ready, I guess.
Well, you think about, I think you're right. You think about the buyer, right? You think about the type of buyer that's out there. If there is somebody who's looking to occupy the space, if they're like, I'm going to move into this, I'm buying this for myself, it's my first time buying, or whatever it may be, there's a lot more of those people than there are the people going, I want to buy this to fix it up.
Right.
That pool is much smaller. So that person is out there for those properties that maybe aren't fixed up, but they're just harder to find.
Just for a unique buyer, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And the ones that are owner occupants that just want to move into it, and it's the updated one that you're talking about, that's far more appealing, right? Because they don't have to do any work.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think that's a large factor when it comes to the condo townhome market, and I'm seeing it across the board, not only with our listings but also with buyers out there too.
Yeah.
That they're competing over nice properties, and then they're able to go back and see maybe the ones that need some work. They're able to go back and see them 3, 4, 5 times if they want to before they make a decision. So it's very, very true, and everyone's situation is unique there too. And I saw this thing this morning on Jared James's Instagram feed mentioning that there are people out there that really like the idea of listing their home, and there are people out there that really like the idea of selling their home. That is two different people.
That's so true, though. That is so
Think
true.
about that, right?
Yeah.
Like he said it, and it was perfect, because listing your home sounds great, but selling your home means I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this home sold. Right. Some of those people like the idea of listing, but they're too in love with the property, or they can't see maybe past their nose on a couple things, and they end up sitting for a while.
Just, you know, they see their home for what it really is.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard too.
It's
no fault of their own, because everybody's situation is unique. But it's it's tough, man. And I love that he said that. I was like, that hits it on the head.
Oh yeah, seriously. That perfectly explains it. Absolutely.
So speaking of sellers, I think diving in a little bit on that as far as best advice or best thoughts here. One thing that I want to say out loud, which is just a painful truth that everybody I think needs to hear, is that the spring market, where people wait for, right? They go, I'm going to list my home in March because then I'll get multiple offers. It's going to be great. That didn't really happen.
No.
It didn't really happen this year. And you can point to any myriad of different factors, whether it's political, whether it is financial, whether it is just, you know, anything under the sun, you know, short of maybe a pandemic, which we did not have this year. Other than that, really, there's
crickets.
There's all kinds of reasons.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Like all those homes got listed, and then all my buyers all went quiet. It was so strange. And then all of a sudden, they all just recently like exploded though. Like it's like it's been waves.
The
crazy
roller coaster
waves.
that is our
oh my gosh.
You know, the life of the real estate, right?
50 showings to no showings, back to 50 showings. Come on.
That's the marathon.
It is the marathon, and I'm here to run it.
You're here to run it. I love that. But what that means for a seller is you got to kind of, we talked about having your ducks in a row as a buyer. Right. You got to really understand the rules of this game. You know, and the game changes. The game changes every single year, every single month, every single season. But this is such a different game right now, in that you don't just get to put your property on the market, put a sign in the yard, put some photos of the MLS, get 10 offers on Saturday, decide on Sunday, cash out in 4 weeks.
Right.
That's not the way.
No.
And unfortunately, it means that you have to rely on your agent to make sure that your agent is working hard for you. And that means that some of the people that aren't necessarily used to working hard for their clients are kind of being left in the dust.
Oh yeah.
And that's not the only factor that's going to dictate whether your home sells or not. But the things that you can affect as a seller are the marketability of your home. So how does it look? How is it being marketed? And the price.
Absolutely.
You can't affect anything else.
No.
And that hard truth for sellers is maybe not the easiest thing to hear or easiest thing to swallow, but it is, once you accept that and you know that you are affecting the things you can, then it's going to make a world of difference of how you approach it. And it's making you a person that wants to list versus a person that wants to sell.
Right.
And I think that was like my favorite thing that I'm taking away from
you're
this
spot
time of year.
on. You're absolutely spot on. Like our job is, like, I feel like more on the buyer side on my end is just like to try to find as most opportunity as I possibly can. Like how can I make you, like how can I help you afford this home that you want, you know? So,
yeah.
But I feel like that's like been like a few of the struggles recently, especially with getting approved on the lending side. But it's like, you know, there's different ways of affording these different homes. So it's just a matter of finding the best way. So
and that's going to be that lender being that resource, right? Of knowing which tool works for that person.
Exactly.
And you know, thinking about that price, and that's kind of on the sell side too. You want to, it's a razor thin margin on getting the price right versus getting it wrong. And there's no crystal ball that any agent has that's going to say your home should sell for $447,038.
No.
That's not going to ever happen. What we can do is our best research, give you our best idea of a range, and then the market will tell you. No matter what, the market will tell you. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you hit below it, and you can get multiple offers. But a lot of times right now, because it's ultimately the seller's decision, what they're going to do as far as pricing their home. So at the end of the day, if they decide to go a little bit higher, then it's probably going to get up.
And let's be honest, you're most likely going to hit it. Eventually, the market's going to hit you. It's going to hit your house. No matter how long you're on there for, the market's going to hit you one way or the other. So
100%.
Yeah.
So if you have to drop that price, then you're going to know. That's the market telling you, hey, your house isn't. You thought it was worth $500,000. It's not.
Sadly, no.
My father, one of my greatest teachers, always says the same thing. He said, a house is ultimately worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like that's the truth. That's the reality of it. That's the market speaking in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to make sure that you know what your pricing looks like. I always suggest my strategy is always, if your house is worth $535, let's price it at $525.
Yeah.
You're going to get way more eyes on it at that point than if you price it at $535.
Right. And
round numbers work better. People don't search in increments of 385,298.
No.
But some agents will price them that way.
Right.
No disrespect to them, but it doesn't draw as many eyes. You're not on as many searches that way.
And that's like one of those strategies you can do as a buyer. It's like, you set it like, I always like to set it like, okay, yeah, I want to be set to 350 to about like 400 or 425. Like, okay, well, let's set it to 450 to see what's coming down on the market too.
100%, because you could probably negotiate.
Right, exactly.
Love
there's just
that.
there's just small things you can do to open up the different ways of affordability. Yeah. So
the only other advice I would have for sellers right now too is we spoke to the numbers, right? Number of days on market is over 30 days.
Right.
No matter what area you're in, no matter what realm you're in, price point, if it's a single family, if it's a condo, if it's a townhome, it's over 30 days. So know that going in, that average, it's sometimes you could say average days on market is 38 days, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and their home sells in 2 days. But sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 2. So there's got to be that communication has to be up front, and it has to be honest, and it has to be continuous. I think that's the other piece. If you don't have an agent right now, that's what you should be asking your agent to do when you get to that point. So, and then obviously, like I said, marketability is a big deal. So make sure your photography is on point. Have a really talented marketing person that can maybe do some drone footage or create amazing social media content. I mean, I feel pretty lucky with that around our house here. Okay. And Danielle's happy to not be on camera right now because I think I'm making her uncomfortable with all my compliments, but it's true, and we're grateful for her. And then, like I said, know the pricing thresholds. That's my only other big piece. Is it's okay. It's okay if you have to drop your price. Try not to. Try to price it originally, at the a little bit below the market value, so you can gain that traction. But if not, know that it's so common. I think it was some sort of stat earlier in the year that there were 74% of homes had done a price reduction before they sold. And that was first quarter of this year. So it's the norm. Yeah. You just want to try and do your best to fight against it. So
very true.
So that's it, kind of in a nutshell. I think market update. Any other last thoughts for our
I think we covered it pretty well.
Esteemed listeners? We appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to try and do these every month for you so you can kind of know what's happening if things change drastically or even subtly. We want to make sure we're sharing it with you and that you know what to expect out there. Stats come out kind of a few days after the month ends, so you can always expect to hear from us kind of that first week of the month on these. But outside of that, thank you, as always, for listening. We appreciate you listening and or watching us. We're going to do our best to keep coming at you with different content now that we're all back from summer vacation. That's what I'm going to call it. And keep this train rolling. Thank you to Odell Brewing. You didn't know it, but you kind of made our day.
You did.
So we appreciate you.
I'm going to shoot well today.
Yeah. Oh,
we're going to run this golf tournament.
Fueled with Odell, anything is possible, especially on the golf course.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good about that. Go check them out if you're ever up in the Fort Collins area. They're worth it. They got tap rooms in Denver too, but their original spot is great up in Fort Collins. And as always, thank you to the man across the table from me. I appreciate you, brother.
Yep, appreciate you.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.